Hello, audience! Coming to you from all the way from the British Isles. Welcome, 1984's mockumentary extraordinaire. This is Spinal Tap. Hi, welcome to the RB podcast. My name is Pilar.
My name is Ryan.
And this week we are talking about Spinal
Tap. So Spinal Tap, it takes us on a tour with a documentary filmmaker studying what is called one of England's loudest bands. Over the course of their U.S. tour, the band struggles with their waning popularity, embarrassing mismanagement, and the internal disagreements about the direction that the band is heading. Ultimately, what was supposed to be their very last show inexplicably leads them to a newfound success and a new tour in Japan, of all places. So that's pretty much what the movie is about.
If you have not seen this, it's not really a musical, but dude, the songs are jamming.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
These songs from this band are bops.
Right. It's not a real band, mind you. So whoever wrote all this stuff, fantastic, first of all. And then we also have to give credit to the band.
Yes.
So in this band, we have David St. Hubbins, who is the lead singer and guitarist, played by Michael McKean.
Yes.
And then we have Nigel Tufnell. He's the lead guitarist, and he is played by Christopher Guest.
Yes.
Those are the main two that we focus on, but within the band, we also have Derek Smalls, who's the bassist. We have Mick Shrimpton, who is the drummer, and then we have Viv Savage, who is the keyboardist.
Yes.
And then managing all the commotions that are going around, we have Ian, who is the manager for the band.
Yes. Ian carries around this cricket bat of all things.
Oh yeah, he's pretty gnarly.
So both David and Nigel are like the founders of Spinal Tap.
Yes, they've gone through many forms of the band Spinal Taps together.
Yeah.
They were known as the Originals first.
Yes.
But then they found out that there was another band called the Originals that eventually changed their name to the Regulars.
Yes.
But by that time, they were already called the New Originals, and then they changed their name to the Thamesmen.
The Thamesmen.
The Thamesmen.
Yeah. After the river Thames.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then eventually they phased out of that and became Spinal Tap.
Yeah, so they have like a lot of internal strife, I guess. The major conflict, there's a couple of different conflicts running through the story. First of all, they are not as popular as they used to be.
Right. They used to be like selling out 10,000 seated arenas, and now as they move to the States, and I don't know if they've been to the States before.
I'm not sure.
I don't think they have, because they were like,
they don't feel familiar with the United States at all.
So this is their last tour, which happened to be in the U.S., which, they're a British band, so they already have a hard time like penetrating the music the music biz in the US. So they are booking smaller gigs, in which some are ultimately canceled as they're touring, which kind of sucks for them.
Yeah, they're promoting their new album, which they're also struggling with because the cover is considered sexist. It's called "Smell the Glove" is the name of their album. Which I don't know what that means.
So I think they mean like the glove, like a condom.
Okay.
But they weren't allowed to put the condom on there, I think. So what they wanted on the cover, which we never see, sadly, is a greased up woman. Okay, this is per Bobby Fleckman's, who is played by Fran Drazier's. Per her description, it was a greased up woman who was on all fours with a big collar on, and there's a man with there's a man holding the collar,
holding the
leash, right? And he is making her smell a rubber glove, and it's considered sexist.
Yeah, she has the great line. It's 1982. It's not the 60s.
Right.
Which
And then, which Ian replies, that's not even the cover they wanted to do. In order to compromise on this album, Ian gets an all black
it's
album.
kind of like a pastel black, I think.
Pastel black.
I think it's what Derek Small says.
Yeah. So they were trying to be inspired by the Beatles' White Album, but the more they looked at it, they realized that this was the death album of their Spinal Tap.
This is the death of Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
So the movie itself is presented as though it is a documentary on the band Spinal Tap.
Right.
It, of course, is... It wasn't like the first mockumentary, but it has popularized the mockumentary genre. It was the first real successful mockumentary film. Anyway, Rob Reiner, the director, he plays the director of
this mockumentary.
The documentary. His name is Marty.
Right.
And he's always been obsessed with Spinal Tap. And he, I guess, through... You kind of learn about each of the characters through his like one-on-one conversations with them, and how inflated their egos are, and how like those egos don't really mesh anymore.
Right.
And they're kind of tearing the band apart.
They're tearing the band apart.
So David has this girlfriend, which I also think is funny because there's a scene at one of the parties, like the second party with Bobby Fleckman, who I guess is like a promoter. Yeah. At the second party, they have like these like cold sores on their mouth. It's like most prominent on David. Right. And he has this girlfriend back home who then comes on tour with them later on. Yeah. And anyway, I thought she kind of acted almost like a Yoko Ono. Yeah. Like she...
Is the division between the band.
Yeah. But the band was being divided already. She was just like...
The breaking point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently Nigel... Well, according to David, Nigel and... what's her name? Janine, who is David's girlfriend, are similar... They don't dislike each other, but
there's a lot of love there.
Yeah, there's a lot of love there. Janine and Nigel definitely have some tension between each other, and I believe it's like for attention from David.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like.
Like Nigel and David are like best friends, and so to have Janine and they've been working through their music together for a very long time, since they were like 8 years old, they said.
Yeah. One of them was 8, one was 7.
Right. So to have Janine be there to, one, criticize their choices as a band and as friends, like it really stresses Nigel out, and he really doesn't know how to break it to David that, your girlfriend just can't come and like mess things up.
Yeah. She is there and like oversteps her boundaries as not a band member, and Ian just ups and quits, and she becomes the new manager, and it just continues to go downhill from there. Right. So there's a lot of characters. In addition to all of these, like the band members, Janine, Ian, and Bobby Fleckman, who we mentioned, and Marty, the documentary filmmaker. There's a lot of other characters, and there's like cameos almost. Right. So we go throughout the movie. At the first party with Bobby Fleckman, there's these mimes. They're like serving hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. And I didn't even recognize them at first, but Dana Carvey is like the one that's doing all the like the heavy lifting as the
serving. Right.
Yeah. And then we see him run into another mime close to some stairs, and I like recognize the voice first, but that's Billy Crystal. He's he's like the mime manager, I guess. He says mime is money.
Mime is money.
Which is one of the, bazillion excellent quotes in this movie. Later on, we see Angelica Houston. She is the sculptor of this
Oh, Stonehenge.
Yeah. Of this Stonehenge monument that serves as a really good gag in the movie, and is like one of the ultimate breaking points between Ian and the band's relationship. We also see Fred Willard. He's in here as like some sort of like military officer.
Who is Phil's dad from Modern Family.
Yeah, amongst many other things. But he's there just in that one scene.
Right.
And then we also have Paul Schaefer, who was on Letterman as the in-house musician for several years. He plays Artie Fufkin, Polymer Records. He just introduces himself to everyone. Artie Fufkin, Polymer Records.
Like, wasn't he?
Just like Bob Vance.
Yeah,
Refrigeration. That's what I wrote down.
That's funny.
There's a lot of other characters, and
this movie's jam-packed.
Yeah.
What I really love about it is like the structure of them. Like, you can slowly see how everything's falling apart for them. Like, I find it funny because I have funded quite a few rockumentaries in my lifetime. One of those being The Matches, and then the other one being Of Montreal. And I find it so funny that both of those that I followed are like documentaries being done as the bands are like already broken up or falling apart. Like, definitely for sure falling apart for Of Montreal, because it was like really fun at the beginning, and then you slowly see how like things were really shitty for people, and you can see how people were like faltering throughout the band. And the same thing with The Mashes. They were like having fun at the beginning, and then you see like all the small pieces that led to their demise. And it's like there's never a rockumentary that's really happening while people are big. Maybe for pop stars now, because there's like the Ariana Grande one, there's the Beyonce one and stuff like that. But for rock, it's usually, if you have a documentary being done about you, you're probably gonna die within a few days. But yeah, I think it doesn't delve too much in the characters, but I feel like you can really sense the relationship between David and Nigel and how well they work together, and how they love making music. And like, I don't know to what extent these are the real actors' voices, like singing, but if that's Michael McKean singing, dude, he has a voice. I don't know if he's in a band or anything, but those songs are jamming.
All right, well, let me get into it, because that leads me into like the fun facts on this movie. Okay. First off, the band does all play their own instruments.
Damn, that's fucking sick.
And he is singing. Like, they are musicians, basically.
Yes. Can I say this one thing?
Yeah.
So to me, Ryan identified David as the guy from Better Call Saul, like almost immediately. But to me, he looks a lot like Snake from Degrassi. And we're going to put a picture right here because, dude, he looks exactly the same. And in Degrassi, he was also in a band who only had one hit. And so I thought that could have been him, you know, like trying to live out that rock world or whatever.
How old is he in Degrassi?
In Degrassi? Well, he was in Degrassi High in like the 1970s or whatever.
Oh, okay. So he's like a teacher?
Yeah, he's a teacher in the new Degrassi. So yeah, I mean, but they look exactly the same to me. If he had hair, but anyways.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, they're all really playing the instruments. Both Michael McKean, who plays David, Christopher Guest, who plays Nigel, and possibly Derek Smalls. They all wrote the music. Yeah. Rob Reiner did write some of the music as well.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like these are all like real written songs.
That's so sick, dude.
So both McKean and Guest were members of the band Lenny and the Squig Tones, which is also a fictional band from the show Laverne and Shirley. So they had Christopher Guest, his characters was named Nigel, what's his name? Nigel Tufnell. And
in that show?
In the show, and he carried that over. Or no, maybe I'm thinking of something else. I am thinking of something else.
Okay.
They have different names.
Okay.
Their names are Lenny and Squig something.
Okay.
Okay, anyway.
Okay, anyway.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, they're a fictional band in the show Laverne and Shirley, which I think Rob Reiner had a role in as well.
Okay. A lot of things connecting.
The band Spinal Tap first appeared during a sketch on a sketch comedy show called The TV Show in 1979. Okay. That's where Nigel comes from.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So that was the first time Spinal Tap as an entity appeared.
Okay.
During filming, they performed real concerts.
Damn. For real people?
For real people. So
oh my god.
Not every scene that you see is a real concert, because I mean some of the venues are tiny. But I think Big Bottom.
Yes.
I think that's a real show.
Damn, dude, what I would wish to be there. I love that song so much.
So during the release of the film, they also released the soundtrack, which had the same cover as the album.
Oh, okay. Damn.
As the Smell the Glove album, it was called the Spinal Tap. The soundtrack
the black one.
Yeah, they also performed on Saturday Night Live to
Whoa.
promote the movie. Yeah. No, the movie comes out in 1984.
Okay.
They are a fictional band. They pretty much have only been musicians in fiction.
Yes.
However, because of the popularity of this movie, they had a reunion in 1992.
Nice.
And they released another album called Break Like the Wind.
What?
Which is like breaking wind, I think is farting, it's a fart joke. So 2 songs off of that album, one called Bitch School and one called The Majesty of Rock, actually made the charts, the UK charts.
For real?
Yeah, the real charts. They had performed at Wembley Arena in London multiple times. They had a reunion one-night tour, one-night world tour in June 30th, 2009, in which they also opened for themselves as the fictional band The Folksmen, or The Folkmen.
Damn, dude, that's so sick. All right.
Yeah.
We have to make a mockumentary of Snooze or Loser, who is a fictional band that we got to see in real life.
A couple of funny things. So Mick Shrimpton, the drummer, he spontaneously combusts in the film. Right. So the actor that plays him takes up the role of the drummer for the live performances. Okay. As his twin brother, Rick Shrimpton.
Rick Shrimpton. Well, speaking of drummers, so you mentioned that Mick Shrimpton spontaneously combusts. So the band itself has had a history of their drummers dying.
Yes.
So first one we have John Stumpy Peep.
The Peepster.
The Peepster, that's right. Whose death is quoted by the police to be better unsolved.
Oh, it was a terrible gardening accident.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Then we have Eric Stumpy Joe. Eric Stumpy Joe, who incidentally died choking on vomit.
Yeah, somebody else's vomit.
Somebody else's vomit. They really couldn't identify whose vomit it was. You can't really dust.
So those were the first 2 drummers.
All right, and then after the Stumpies, we have Peter James Bond. Dude, okay, did you figure out if any of this was improv?
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like
it is improv.
I want to say at least every time that they were speaking to the filmmaker Marty, had to be improv, because I just felt like they were talking on top of each other and just coming. Dude, there's no way somebody wrote down that his name is Peter James Bond.
I don't know how much of it is improv, but a lot of it is improv.
Yeah.
Marty, Rob Reiner, is telling them about a couple of reviews, and one of them, my favorite one, is it was some critics said it's unknown when the day in which God created Spinal Tap, but why didn't he rest on that day too?
in reviewing Shark Sandwich, an album, I believe their sophomore album.
Yeah,
Somebody reviewed it and just said shit sandwich. Dude.
Anyway, yeah, when he's telling that to the band,
They're like fucking.
I feel like their reactions are just so genuine in that moment.
They're trying so hard not to laugh, like genuinely. But I think one of my favorite parts, which I feel I'm pretty sure it was improv, is where Ian is trying to assure them that their album is going to be published. They were just experimenting on the album cover or something like that, and then I think it was Derek Smalls who said, "What they got monkeys." They got monkeys
experimenting with the packaging.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what he said. He was like, "What, they got monkeys opening up the packages or something like that?" Oh my god, dude, this movie is a lot funnier than like outside of it.
Yeah.
Than watching it. Like, I think watching it, I am too mesmerized by the music, and then I think about what actually happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like fucking busting laughing.
What was your favorite song?
My favorite song has to be Big Bottoms.
Okay, I thought it was
Big Bottoms. There's no... it's just so good. What about your favorite song? What's your favorite song?
Out of all of the music, I really like the David and Nigel's first song that they made.
Oh, right.
Which is... What is it called?
All the Way Home?
Oh, yeah. All the Way Home.
All the Way Home.
I feel like that's such a good song. Like,
yeah, it's like a real, genuinely good song. I mean, they're all really good. It's just...
well, I mean,
maybe not Sex Farm.
I mean, most of them are really good, but they're just joke songs.
Yeah.
I guess what makes this movie so good is like how quotable it is.
Yeah.
Because there's just... like every other line is hilarious.
Right.
We've mentioned so many of them already, but like when they get their album, Nigel says, "How much more black could this album be?" The answer is none more black. Like, it's just so good.
I think one of my favorites is when they go to a hotel that accidentally forgot to book the 7 rooms that they needed. They instead just booked a room on the 7th floor. And Ian calls him a twisted fruit, and the man's like, "Sir, I'm as God made me."
That guy had another good line too. They were like, how are 28 people, no, how are 14 people supposed to sleep in one bed?
He's like, "Sir, don't tempt me." He was like the most homely man.
There's a lot of like little things like that, like not big lines. Like in that same scene, Ian says, like he's like demanding that they get all the rooms or whatever, and he says, "I want these suites and I want them now. These people are tired. We have sound check in an hour." And like it's ridiculous because he's saying we need these bedrooms because of how tired everybody is. But also, we have to be on stage in 1 hour.
Like, as soon as they get into the room, they have to fucking leave. And then, I think in that same scene, they meet that other rock star who apparently sold out this really big arena. And then his manager is like, "All right, guys, we'd love to make small talk and chat, but we got to go sit in the lobby." We have to go sit in the lobby to wait on our limo. Like, he was like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here." I do like, okay, so there was like foreshadowing to Stonehenge that I really, really liked. I think it was in their first concert after they sang Big Bottoms.
Yeah.
The crowd was cheering and somebody was like, "Sing Stonehenge!"
Yeah.
And then we actually get to see what Stonehenge is, and it's just not as good as they wanted it.
Yeah. Okay, so the Stonehenge prop that they have is like extremely small. It's like this big.
Right.
And like that's kind of the most blatant gag in the movie. Mm-hmm. But there's other, aside from like the quotability and the ridiculous lines and stuff, there's other gags throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. So Nigel is being interviewed, and he's like in the green room somewhere. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And he's talking about these little sandwiches.
Oh yeah, the little sandwiches.
I can't quote the little sandwich stuff because that's just too much.
Yeah, dude. He's like, so it's like tiny bread and then a regular sized bologna slice, and Ian is trying to show him, like, this is how you use the tiny bread. You just fold the salami slice. He's like, yeah, but if I fold the bread just breaks. And then Ian's like trying so hard to tell him not to fold the bread. The olives. He's like, he's like, I look at this olive and there's a little guy, and this olive ain't got nothing.
Yeah, he's having this absolutely ridiculous conversation, but at the same time, there's like a platter of like Oreos that like at one side of the Oreo is gone. It's just like the cream on one cookie.
Dang it, I missed that. I think you told me the first time and I didn't even look at it the second time.
And then right next to that is another platter, the one with the olives.
Yeah, but it's like, I think it's like deviled eggs.
It's something, but there's like a cigarette like sticking in something.
Yeah.
And like, it's just little stuff like that throughout the movie that are really good. Like there's the one scene when they're in these pods the beginning of their number. And and David comes out of the pod like with his guitar playing. Then Nigel comes out of the pod with his guitar playing, and then Derek is supposed to step out of his pod.
He's stuck.
But his pod won't open. And like the stagehand or whatever like comes out there and like starts hammering on it. But when he's hammering on it, it like almost joins with the music. It like becomes an additional percussion in the music. But I don't know. It's so fucking funny. It's so dorky. He comes out there with like a blowtorch after the hammer won't work.
I do wish there was a little bit more like something, because he comes the crew stagehand whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't get a name or anything. He's just like, because he comes up again when Nigel is like doing this cool move where he like he like bends backwards and he gets stuck, and so the stagehand is like trying so hard to lift him, but he like spins him around.
I couldn't tell if that was like part of it. If Nigel wanted to be spun around and then lifted up.
I don't know, dude. It's so fucking good. One of my favorite small things is like Nigel having a Gumby shirt, and then later you see him with the little Gumby in his pocket. And it's like, it's never elaborated on. Yeah. And like, I kind of wish it was, but I'm kind of glad that it wasn't. Because it's just like one of those things, you know? He just likes Gumby. And like, what is he going to say? Like, I was 5 years old and Gumby came on and he was like my hero, whatever. Yeah. And a small thing about Nigel is... because I feel like David is seen more as the emotional, like, happy-go-lucky kind of yin to like Nigel's yang. He's more of a straight man, you know? He's like the pragmatic one almost sometimes. Especially when Janine comes around. But there's like silly moments with him where he's like, there's the one where he like is saving his gum for later. He's like talking to Marty and he's just holding the gum on his on his finger. And then when he goes to show Marty his guitars, and he's like, Marty's not allowed to look at one of them.
He tells him not to touch it, and he's like, "No, I'm not touching it. I was just pointing.
No, don't point." And then he's like, "Listen," but he like doesn't play anything.
Yeah, he's like, "Listen to the sustain."
I don't hear anything. He's like, "Well, if I was playing it."
All right, so we have the quotes. We have like the gags throughout, and then there's also the jams. There's also like just these really good scenes that could be in any comedy. I feel like anywhere. Okay. They're almost like they feel like sketches inside the movie almost. Okay. Like the one scene where Derek Smalls is going through the metal detector.
Yes.
He goes through several times, and each time he sets it off. And finally, he reveals that he has this cucumber wrapped in aluminum foil in his pants.
Dude, and I will say that the TSA who's like handling Derek Smalls is so cute. She's so precious with her little hair. Oh my gosh. She did not deserve that, Derek.
And then the other scene that feels, I mean, it definitely goes with the movie, but it almost feels separate, is when they get lost backstage and they cannot find the stage, and they run into this guy like working on some pipes or something. I don't know what he's doing, and he gives them like the most elaborate directions on how to get to the stage.
He's like, take a left, and then you just hop 5 times, and then you take a right, and then there's gonna be 2 doors you turn for.
I think he told him to jog about 30 steps or something like that. Anyway, they're like, okay, cool, thanks, and then they go like in a circle and just see him again. Anyway, like that's funny. I feel like we don't see what happens before that or after that.
No.
Yeah.
I think they just like get there and they're like, yeah, and then they lose their momentum and then they pick it back up and then they get lost again.
I just wanted to talk about also, I mean, like this movie definitely had a heavy influence on the mockumentaries that followed it. I mean, everything from like, you know, Borat 2 now, to like TV as well with like The Office, I guess. And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that this movie specifically has influenced. For us, we wanted to watch it because it was Rob Reiner's like first movie.
Is what's Jack Black's Tenacious D? Is that a movie?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Spinal Tap inspired Tenacious D. I feel like I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, so I mean they've influenced music as well.
Yeah.
Like Metallica released an album cover that was all black except for like a little snake in the corner.
Nice.
That was directly related to like the Spinal Tap
Damn,
cover.
dude, that's so fucking sick, dude.
But yeah, I mean Tenacious D, it can be said that they're a similar band. Like like are they a real band?
Who knows?
I mean, kind of. I mean,
they make music.
Jack and Kyle are both musicians, I guess. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway, one of them has a quote. I guess it's Christopher Guest about like it's strange that the fiction of this movie kind of led to reality.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So anyway, Rob Reiner.
Okay.
He's mainly known as Michael Meathead Stivic. From 1971 to 1978 on the show All in the Family.
All right.
So he made this movie in 1984. After this movie, he made a movie called The Sure Thing, which I don't know anything about.
Okay.
But then he made, in this order, Stand By Me in 1986,
Whoa!
The Princess Bride 1987, When Harry Met Sally in 1989, Misery in 1990, and A Few Good Men in 1992.
Damn.
Like that
those are all like hits.
That's a terrific run of movies.
Damn, dude. Can you imagine like your first movie is like fucking fantastic and then it just gets better from there?
And then with the actors, Michael McKean, you mentioned that I recognized him as somebody from Better Call Saul. He plays Chuck McGill, who is Jimmy or Saul's older lawyer brother.
Lawyer brother?
Yeah. Anyway, I couldn't believe him. That's the only thing I knew him in.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a lot of things, but like for the character of Chuck McGill, who is like just some pretentious old asshole.
Yeah.
To be
so free spirited.
Yeah. such a rocker.
Right.
And has such a great voice. That just caught me so by surprise.
Yeah.
Christopher Guest, who plays Nigel, he is mostly known for like his mockumentary contributions. So he's like written and directed several mockumentaries after this.
Yeah.
Most notably like Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Win. He is also married to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's very cute.
Yeah. And then Harry Shearer, who plays Derek Smalls, he voices several characters on The Simpsons, including Mr. Burns, Smithers, Ned Flanders.
And many more.
Yeah, many more.
Dang.
So like, you know,
These are some big names.
yeah, there's some very talented people in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those hidden movies that like only like the cool people know about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you were to mention it to anybody, they'll be like, "What is this? Is Spinal Tap?" Like Spinal Tap? Like that's a movie. But I feel like I don't know. I feel it mentioned so much by like actors and directors and stuff like that, and like musicians.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those things that sparks so much. And that's so cool.
Yeah. And I guess with that, you want to give
let's
final
get into
grades
some
of the movie?
ratings. All right.
What you get? What did you give this movie?
All right. I love this movie so much. But
Oh, okay.
but I had to take into account like everything. Like it's so good, but it's also very average of a movie. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like the sound is average. Like the songs were jamming, but it wasn't like spectacular sound. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What do you
like
mean?
cinema, like I don't know. Like there's just something about it that just feels like a movie that you would watch in the middle of the day, like on USA. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So like, I rated this movie a 7.3.
A 7.3?
Yes.
Out of what?
Out of 11. So yeah, I felt like it's not as high as I wanted it to go.
Okay.
Like personally, on a personal level, but like logistically.
Yeah. Logistically.
So logistically, it just doesn't compare to a lot of movies I've seen.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like it's really good, but it's not great.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's fair, I guess.
What did you rate?
Did you think about rating it out of 11 when you were making this rating?
No. Should I divide it by 11? Should I do it again and then divide it by 11?
No, because then it just make it lower. Did you forget all about the 11?
I did.
Okay. So you gave it a 7.3 out of 10, technically.
Yeah, technically. But I mean, if I just need to go a little bit higher, we can make it 11.
IMDb also has, only for this movie, a special rating system.
Wow!
And it goes up to 11.
Damn, dude! Yes! Dude, they're just... Okay, so this movie is not great, but it... Like, as a movie, it's not great. But as an entity, it's fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
So, that's why I had to be, like, really stuck to my numbers. Alright. What did you rate it?
Alright, I rated it just a little higher than you.
Okay.
I gave it just a flat 8.
Nice,
out
nice.
of 11.
It's just so good.
Yeah, I think it, I mean, like you were saying, if you just watch this movie like in a vacuum, it's not the best movie.
Right.
Like, yes, the comedy is funny, the gags are funny, the music is really good for a fictitious rock band.
Right.
But it's just everything else that this movie means.
Yes.
That really gives it
life.
Yeah, and the rating that
like,
I think it deserves.
I would not watch this movie in theaters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not pay money to watch this movie in theaters.
Okay.
Because it doesn't feel like it's theater worthy.
Would you pay money to watch Spinal Tap, the band?
Yes, I would. Most definitely, dude. I would definitely watch Spinal Tap.
Okay. So, It's kind of tough. It's very tough for me. Mm-hmm. What is your one favorite thing about watching this movie?
My one favorite thing
I'm still thinking about which one thing you're going to choose.
Okay. All right. So, my favorite thing is Big Bottom. Like, as a song and performance, because they're shaking their little bums.
Yeah.
But I also love the sweater that Janine made him.
Okay, good.
Like, that is so cute. Like, and he, like, wants to take it off because he feels like a fucking nerd. But, dude, that's the sickest sweater!
I love that sweater. When I saw that thing, I was like, damn, that is a sick sweater. And I wasn't even paying attention to, like, the
conversation.
we kind of watched it like 1.5 times,
Mm-hmm.
and the second full time through, I noticed that he hates the sweater, and he wants to take it off, and he doesn't even want to go see the other band members with it on.
Yeah, he's like embarrassed.
He's like, I don't think they should see it until it's finished.
And Janine's like, it's done.
I really like that sweater, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's one of the things I was debating on.
Dang. Okay. What's that other favorite thing that you were thinking?
Okay. Okay. My one favorite thing is when they're at this festival, which isn't even a festival. It's almost like being at Six Flags, and you're playing at that amphitheater. And anyway, they start playing the song, and it's terrible. And like people start sitting down, and then it just shows this one guy sitting there like this. He's so bored.
Damn, dude.
He's so bored. All right. So
that is Spinal Tap.
I'm not gonna give it a thumbs down. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
But yeah, so
giving it a bottoms up. All right. So.
So we chose this movie because it was a directorial debut. Our prior episode was mid-90s, which was also a directorial debut of Jonah Hill. So this one, of course, it pretty much like started the genre of a mockumentary. So we wanted to do other mockumentaries, and we have 3 choices for you. They are somewhat different type of mockumentaries, or different from each other,
right?
And I'm excited for each of these individually. So
yes. Taking away me. So the choices we have is A, Bernie, which came out in 2011, is directed by Richard Linklater. It's starring Jack Black.
Yes.
And it's based on a true story.
Yeah. So there's some debate on if it is even a mockumentary, because I think fundamentally mockumentary, like mockingness, it almost needs to be a comedy, and this is not really a comedy. It's like a black comedy, really. I couldn't even find it on, like, when I did a Google search of like best mockumentaries, like it didn't even show up. But it is a mockumentary,
right?
It is a fictional documentary,
right?
Just about real people and a real event that took place.
Yeah.
It's
really good. We'd seen it before, and we want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But then we have B, Best in Show, came out in 2000, directed by Christopher Guest, who we already talked about, and it was written by him and Eugene Levy.
Yes.
And so that stars both Guest and McKean, who we watched in Spinal Tap, along with Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara from Schitt's Creek. We got Jennifer Coolidge in there, and we got Jane Lynch, dude.
Yeah.
Another jam-packed movie. We have not seen it, but after like doing some research, it looks so good. So we're very excited for this one too.
Yes.
And lastly, we have C, I, Tonya, which came out in 2017, critically acclaimed, directed by Craig Gillespie. Directed by Craig Gillespie. Okay. Directed by Craig Gillespie. Last time.
All right.
Okay. Directed by Craig Gillespie.
Nailed it.
Starring Margot Robbie, and it's fucking fantastic.
Also Allison Janney. She's
did
she win Best Supporting Actor?
She might have.
Actress?
That's Juno's mom.
Yeah.
And the bird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is about Tonya Harding, of course,
and based on another true story again.
Yeah.
It's so good, and I mean, I love this movie. I'm pretty sure Ryan really loves this movie, so we wouldn't mind watching it again and reviewing it with all our favorite details entailed.
Yes. Okay.
All right,
but yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yeah.
Well, thank you as always for watching us. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, share us with your friends so we can get those views up, you know?
Yeah, we like them views. But yeah, if you want to vote here, you can do so in the comments. If not, we also do our voting on Twitter. We are Pod from the Basket, and on Instagram, we are There Will Be Podcasts on there.
Yeah, we're also on Spotify, Google Podcasts.
Thank you again so much. Please watch Spinal Tap. It's an experience. It will leave your brain rotten with goodness. Literally.
Yeah. And we're going to try our best to do some parting words.
I might just sing Rock Bottom.
Rock Bottom?
Yeah.
All right.
Cute, big bottom. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Look, right across the board. 11, 11, 11.
And most of these amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? You're on 10 on your guitar. Where do you go from there? Where?
I don't
Nowhere.
know.
Exactly. So what we do is when we need that little extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11. Exactly, one louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go up to 11.